Hi, I'm Brian Haynes.
And I'm Tommy Jordan from the Media Strategy Production Group.
We're here to talk to you about video and Channel U. Channel U was created to provide you, the Sun employee, a forum for creating and uploading your own video content aimed at Sun's partners and customers.
And what we're going to try to do with this video is to give you some tips and techniques that we've learned along the way that might make your videos a little bit better.
So basically the video is for two audiences. First, folks that are interested in creating video and posting on Channel U that have never done it before. And secondly, folks that have already created video, maybe with a flip cam, uploaded it to Channel U, but they're interested in making the video better or higher quality than before.
Right. I've taught Christian some of these techniques. Have you found any of these useful at all? Or?
Ja, also ich glaube, dass du ein völliger Trottel bist und ich verstehe nicht, wie du jeden Tag ohne Hilfe zur Arbeit kommen kannst, aber ich finde das sehr faszinierend.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so these cameras are under $200. How's the quality?
The quality is surprisingly good. Some of them shoot at 1080p, some of them shoot at 720p. For a camera under $200 is pretty remarkable.
What about image stabilizers? Is that something that you would look for?
It's a really great feature. What it does is it makes the image stabilize a little bit more, which is kind of hard to do when you're holding a handheld. It just kind of compensates for that. So you should look for it if you're going to be buying one of these.
Okay, and what about lenses? What do you look for with, does it matter?
Well, yeah, you don't want a fixed lens. This camera has a zoom lens where you can zoom in and zoom out, and that can make it a lot more interesting for your productions if you have that ability.
And so is autofocus something that could help you out, or is it going to cause problems?
Autofocus can be a little bit of a problem. When you're in autofocus and you're shooting and something is in the foreground, that's what the camera is reading. By any chance something else comes alongside, it can go back and forth and give you this effect where it's in and out of focus. If you have a manual focus, you can zoom in, focus on the subject, zoom out, and it stays at that particular focal length.
Okay. Audio. I've understood that having a handheld mic is the way to go to capture the best audio. Can you use that with these types of cameras?
No, unfortunately, that's one of the downsides of these cameras as well. You're stuck with the camera mic that's on the back of the camera or the front of the camera, and that makes it a little bit difficult because when you're in environments that are noisy, it picks up all the noise around you. So what you try to do is, if you can get out of that environment, you do, and if you are in that environment, you try to get as close to the subject that you're shooting as possible.
Okay. I've heard white balance is important. Why do I need to know what that is?
Well, white balance is a way for the camera to see the true color of each individual environment. If you've ever seen a video where it looks really yellow or it looks really blue or something along that line, that's when the camera hasn't been calibrated correctly for the right white balance. So it's really important to make sure that if you have a white balance in your camera to go in, get your white balance, because that'll give you the true colors that you're looking for.
This is great information. Let's take these cameras out and look at them in greater detail.
Yeah, I think we should go out and give it another shot and go into some more techniques that we can do.
Ich kann nicht glauben, dass ich mit diesen Clowns noch den ganzen Tag arbeiten muss.
Right.
Right.
Tell me, what's involved with planning your shoot?
Well, hopefully what you've done ahead of time is what we call a walkthrough. You get into your environment and you look for potential hazards that are going to come your direction. I always try to keep in mind sound first. So if I take my hands and clap them and I hear the echo of that sound, that means there's a lot of reverb in the room and that's probably going to interfere with my recording. I also want to pay attention to things like background noise, door slamming, people talking, air conditioning is a big one. These are the kind of things you want to at least become aware of so you know what you're up against, and if you can possibly avoid them, do so.
So I have a difficult time getting a steady shot with my handheld. Do you have any tips for me?
Well, if you can use a tripod, of course, that's going to give you a steadier shot. But if you are going to be holding the camera, if you zoom back wide, that will steady up your shot more than having a telephoto. And other things I try to do is try to find sources that I can steady up on. Like if I had this desk, I would be steadying up my shot on the desk. Or if I had something I could lean against, I would lean against it and steady up my shot as well. So I look for these as well in my environment when I'm shooting.
Great tips, I appreciate it.
Here are some clothing no-nos. Large amounts of high contrast whites and blacks interfere with the camera's contrast range. Try wearing pastel colors like pinks or blues, greens, browns, golds, etc. Very large or shiny jewelry can cause reflection problems as well as interfere with sound. So unless you're shooting a hip-hop video, keep the bling to a minimum. Fabrics with narrow stripes, polka dots, or tiny patterns can cause a moire effect. You know, those wavy, dancy lines you sometimes see in video? So it's good to stick with solid colors.
So, Tommy, we've taken a look at some tips for folks that may be a little bit new to video, but let's look at Channel U at some videos that are already uploaded, and maybe you could share some insights, if anything, that you would have done differently in a common situation such as this.
Okay. Now, this kind of environment is very difficult to shoot in because of the crowd. I would try to move the subject away from the backlight because video can't handle this kind of contrast range. The brights get blown out and the darks get too dark. So here you have a case of either or. Either move completely into the darker area and let your camera open up its iris, or move into the brighter area and let it close down. I'd probably choose to go with the darker area and let the camera adjust for it because the room is more dark than bright. Now in this second video, the audio is coming from the camera mic, so you really are limited with what you can do. If I could, I would move into another room, or have the subject move as far away as possible from the speakers or the background noise. But if you're stuck with this kind of a noisy environment, get as close as you can to your subject and have them project over the background noise, even shout if necessary. In framing, keep an eye out for headroom, or the amount of room on top of the frame. It might have been better if the camera was up a little bit higher, the two subjects were closer together, and the camera had been zoomed out a little bit more. Since the Olympic logo is prevalent within the frame, our eyes are drawn to it, so maybe it could have been drawn a little bit lower on the whiteboard. A lot of time, framing consists of balancing the elements within your shot. Well, hopefully some of the tips and techniques we've shown you along the way can make your videos a little bit better.
At the end of the day, we want you, the Sun employee, to feel comfortable creating a video for our customers and partners and posting it on Channel U. So if you have any questions or concerns, or you'd like us to elaborate on any of the points we've talked about, feel free to contact Tommy at Tommy, T-O-M-M-Y.
No, they should be contacting you, Brian.
I'm not certain that's the best.
Wenn Sie irgendwelche Fragen haben, wenden Sie sich an channelsun@sun.com.
Right.
Yeah.